So many people are asking, wondering, what is vipassana exactly? So I know that in Sanskrit, the translation, the meaning of vipassana is deep look. So this deep look is in ourselves, right? How we go through this deep look into ourselves is by using meditation as a tool to be able to look deep inside of ourselves. So vipassana is a technique of meditation created or found by Buddha. Buddha, I'm sure about the pronunciation, but I think his name was Gautama Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama Buddha. And actually Buddha, it's not his name, Buddha, it's just what he became, an enlightened person. Also, I like to say that I'm not under a religion. I'm not devoted to any god or gods or spiritual gurus or whatever, but I do use techniques and tools and keys that are mostly given by gurus or spiritual masters, or like this vipassana technique, which has been taught by the Buddha as an enlightened person who has found the way to liberate himself from the useless suffering, because he has discovered that by looking deeply inside of himself without judging what he was seeing, accepting everything and embracing all kind of thoughts in equanimity, means without craving or aversion. He discovered that by practicing this way of observing the mind, how it functions, how it works, right? He found a way actually to get out of the useless suffering, which is mainly a mental suffering. All comes from the mind, right? So that is what is vipassana. So then vipassana has been used as a technique spread all over the world, mostly by this SN GOENKA, who I'm not really sure exactly about who is this SN GOENKA, but from what I know, he had centers and he still has them, but he passed away now. But he had centers all over the world where you can just go for free on a base of donation to be able to practice in proper conditions this vipassana technique, and you learn it. So I haven't done vipassana retreats in centers because I don't really vibrate with the main idea of being in groups, and sometimes the groups can be very big, like 150 students. It's crazy. Like, I just don't feel doing this spiritual industry. But I do think that if you do not have the strength to do it by yourself, to learn it by yourself using what you find on internet, to be able to know what is exactly this plug into yourself, then you need to go there, because you do not know how to do, right? So I have downloaded the videos from SN GOENKA that you find for free on YouTube. There is one video per day of course, so there is 10 videos, and also there is a 11th video, which is after the 10 days course. He has another speech of half an hour chanting, and the rest of the video is an hour talking. So I got these videos, and I just read a lot in internet about commentaries from the experiences of people. I've been reading a lot about these vipassana retreats in centers. I inspired myself from the way they're doing it. Like, they wake up at 4 o'clock. They have this schedule all the day with this routine imposed, very restricted as a military time schedule, right? When I found that, I knew that was going to be out of my capacities and my needs, vital needs about sleeping and all these things, to wake up at 4 o'clock when it's actually the time that mostly I go to bed. So I found that for me that was not going to match with who I am, and also I'm not really a group person. I'm very I'm always alone. From that time that I discovered Vipassana and I started to do the retreats by myself, I completely went through this loneliness, this wanted loneliness. But my first Vipassana, I was still having, people around me, gathering, and friends, supposed friends, and all these things, right? But I had my deep inner self, I think, was already a type of personality that needs to be alone, right? That's, for me, easy to be alone because it's what I need, actually, according to my personality, actually. Yeah, like growing through life, right? I found it out because before I was just like everybody, like just having friends and chatting and all the things, and I was just finding myself as always apart from the things, and I could see that that was not really what I really needed, actually. So by keeping on growing, let's say, I found out that I'm better alone mostly, but I can still talk with people, but I don't want to chat for chatting and having this discussion that are useless for me. And I'm really good with practicing the silence that these Vipassana retreats are imposing you for 10 days. And actually, I just kept on living this way now, daily. And it's, for me, the best decision I have ever made to follow the vipassana technique as a way of living, as a daily way of living, restricting myself by not going anymore with people and having gathering and all the things, restricting myself. It's vibrating with who I am. It's not a restriction that I feel like it's very hard. It's just hard at the beginning because for sure you gotta make a decision and go against a normal society pattern about having friends and meeting people and having dinners and going to parties and having drinks and drink and smoke and all these things, right? Or even if you go in another path like yoga, meditation and whatever, and you always have a circle of people around you, right? And to break this habit of having people around you and to say, no, I stay alone and I practice silence because I feel that's what I want to experience. I've been experimenting people, circles of whatever, all kind of things, right? Distractions, and I just want to live another experience now, and let's see what's going to give me this vipassana. That was my thought when I started to realize that that was the experience I wanted to do. So I just made the decision to say, okay, that's over for me to meet people and things and just be alone, practice your silence, and that's it. And now I'm on the future of my past, and I'm very glad that I have made this decision, and I won't go back to before to make this decision, right? Because I much more vibrate with who I am. I feel better, and I really use my time to control my mind and to practice this mindfulness techniques. So mainly vipassana, but there is other techniques also that are here for us to train our mind to be aware and in mindfulness, practicing values of compassion, forgiveness, respect, and unconditional love. So all these techniques, like for example the 4 Toltec agreements, there are also agreements that if you do them, if you integrate them in your life, you have to practice mindfulness, because you can't apply things if you don't remember them. To remember all these techniques and things that you want to apply, you get to be attentive and concentrated about the fact that you got to apply them in your life, right? In any situation that is coming to you, that's when you have the tools to apply, and that's when you get to remember to apply them. Means you get to concentrate yourself in using mindfulness and awareness to remember that you got to apply the tools, right? So vipassana is a technique that you can apply daily in your daily life as an art of living, I would say. And to really be able, I think so, to really be able to apply it daily in any situation, I do think that you have to train yourself with intense retreats yearly, once a year minimum, at least once a year, and I would say at least during 2-3 years minimum. I don't think that you can change your way of thinking, your way of talking, your way of acting by just going once in a retreat? I don't think so. But I have met people that told me that after only one retreat, they changed their behavior. Like, for example, they were very aggressive and they had violence inside of them. They were, for example, a guy was easy fighter, and he told me that after the first vipassana, he only did one because he had enough and he stopped to react as a violent person, and he just also changed his environment. He moved from the place where he was living and he went to live in the mountains, and he opened a kind of a guest house. So by changing his environment and by doing only one retreat, it was enough for him to go out of his violent pattern of reacting by fighting with people, like fighting with guys, I guess, right? So for my experience, I needed minimum 3 vipassana retreats to really see a change in my life, to start to really see a change in my life, because it's not even after 3 vipassana that I was satisfied about what I wanted to change in my life. So I also had a lot of violence inside of me. I was making big crises. So coming from the fact that I have been raped so many times, a repetition of many sexual violences, and humiliation, psychological abuses, then drug and alcohol addictions, anorexia and bulimia, and many mental illness that I developed because of the fact that I have been destroyed from young in my inner self construction, right? When you got raped, and I was 15 years old by a pedophile from the first time. And also then I also remember that my brother was also having strange behaviors with me. So from very young, actually, I started to be abused, sexually abused. So for sure, you can't get out of this pattern without serious consequences. And I do think that the people that are in the wish to do vipassana, to try vipassana retreats, they know they have some issues. Whatever the issues are, it can be just anxiety, stress. There is levels, right, in all these issues that we have in our life, right? But when we decide to make a try in this vipassana retreats, it means that there are things that are bothering you, and we do hope that we will get out of them after a retreat, actually. So according to our past and our traumas and our education and our personality, I would say that we all are different, and maybe people will need 1 retreat, other 3 retreats, other they will do it all their life, every year. I have made it my 7th retreat this year, and I'm quite satisfied about what I wanted to change in my personality, this violence that I had inside of me because of the fact that I have been so many times abused, sexually abused, psychologically abused, betrayed, and just a crazy past. So this violence is gone because I have done 7 retreats, but it was starting to go after already the retreat 5, I could really see a big, huge difference. So from my 25 years old to my 36 years old, more or less, I was doing, let's say, more or less 20 big violent crises per month, and I reduced them to 3 per year after the retreat 4. After the retreat 5, I stabilized to this 2 or 3 per year, and according to where I am and to the situation, it's possible that I don't have crisis at all in a year. But it's a programmation, right? When you've been doing so many times crisis and crisis and crisis, and you've been under the control of your reactions without being able to keep control, actually, your brain has liberated many times hormones of stress and anger and everything, right? So it's kind of, even your brain is addicted to, dependent to these hormones, right? So he's looking in a certain way to get the doses of the hormones back. He needs them. So you need a real break in your personality pattern to break the pattern of your brain liberating these hormones, to break the pattern of the dependence of your brain through these hormones, right? So I guess that when I started to only have 2 crises per year, I was breaking the pattern of my brain to need the hormones of stress and violence when I was under the crisis, right? And so, and by finding more peace and to realize that I only can trust myself, and that I can't really trust people because they're not really reliable. Like, it's very hard for me to trust people because no one has not betrayed me in this life. So how I could think that people could be reliable? I do think that we have double face, right? Black and white, and as long as everything is fine, we show the best face, right? But if something happens, we just can split our face and just show the other dark part of us, right? And so I don't think that people can be eternally angels, even if until now they've been angels. I think they have the devil part, and if they did not work on themselves, this devil part that they have can come out at the surface at any moment. I do think so from my experience, but maybe some people will never have the opportunity to let the devil, the devil face comes out on the surface, because maybe no situation will provoke that, right? So yeah, that's more or less what I wanted to share about this vipassana, that you need a reason to do it. If no reason, why you would go there to spend 10 hours per day meditating in the silence, not looking at the people in the eyes, not talking, very restricted life during 10 days. Why you would do that? If you don't have a big reason, you can't get the motivation, you can't get the strength to do it. It's a big challenge, and to challenge yourself, you need a reason to do it. It's like an exam, I would say. You need to prepare it to pass the exam of well-being, right? So your preparation, it's this school of 10 days, and if you have no reason to study this school, why you would study it? I mean, it's just logic, right? So I guess that all the people that are doing this, we have a reason. We want a better life, we want a better personality, we want to see if we are capable to change things in ourselves, because we've heard by others, it's like a word we spread, right? We are talking about it, vipassana. So mostly at the first time we hear the word, we don't remember it, and then another person will say it, and then after a certain time, it's our time to remember the word and say, oh, what was this word that they say, like, because you want to do something in your life to change it, right? And you remember this word, it comes back to your memory, right? Oh, someone has told me this, and so you go on the internet or whatever, you find someone else that talks about again this word, right? Vipassana retreats, no? And then you get the informations. You mainly got the informations with this Dhamma institution ruled by Goenka, SN Goenka, who passed away. But yeah, he has made centers all over the world for people being able to go there and practice and learn and practice the vipassana technique, right? So for my part, I don't feel like going to the center, so I just, as I said, downloaded the videos. I got them on my phone, and every year I find a nice place where I feel safe and comfortable, where I know I won't get disturbed, but where I have all the commodities that I need to be able to stay 10 days meditating. So actually the first meditation retreat that I have done, I made it exactly the same, 10 days, 10 hours per day, and I was really under my watch all the time, crazy, running after the time, and it has been very stressful. So the second meditation, I decided to do 12 days and meditating 8 hours per day, doing this 100 hours session, intense course, right? But in 12 days, because I am alone and it's very hard to do 10 hours per day if I have to cook and if I have to wash my things and my clothes and everything, right? When they're in the centers, the people, they don't have to preoccupy themselves with washing dishes and cooking and preparation of the meal and buying their ingredients and everything. After 5-6 days, I don't have any more fresh vegetables and fruits. I have to go out and buy things. So there is things that I can't really do exactly the same, because for sure when I'm going to buy vegetables and fruits or whatever I need to cook or eat, right, I have to look the person in the eyes. I can't not look at the eyes, but it's okay. It's not because you look someone in the eyes that you can't go back to your house and keep on doing your 8 hours that you have to do daily to fulfill your 12 days meditating 8 hours per day. So yeah, for my part, it's easier to do it this way, and it's by doing it this way that I have been able to keep on doing it every year. But I met people that have been in centers for 40 years, and they just go every year, and they spend every year once a year in centers. So it's about what you really want, and it's not about going in centers or doing it at home. But I know for my part that if I would have been in centers, I really don't think that I would have kept on doing it every year, because the rhythm which is imposed in centers is not at all what I need as a vital needs. Like for sleeping, I need to I'm going to bed late, so I need to have my own rhythm, and also I'm eating at the time that I want. I mean, it's okay if I'm doing the vipassana retreat by myself, and sometimes I eat at 2, and sometimes I eat at 4, sometimes I eat at 6, just according and following my own rhythm. But when you go in their centers, you gotta follow their imposed rhythm, and it's not at all what I need. So, and it was very clear for me that I did not want to go there to wake up at 4 when it's the time that I go to bed, because I knew I would not be able to meditate then, and I would be very exhausted, and it would have been a nightmare. It's very hard, and if more than the fact it's already very hard, if you make it even harder by imposing yourself a rhythm which is not at all yours, I don't think this is good to do. And they also say that by working so much on your mind, you can impact, emphasize mental illness that you have. So you got to be careful. So if you don't sleep properly and you have schizophrenic tendencies, and if you did not respect the preparation before, and if you had an LSD, let's say, not 10 days before, but let's say 2 weeks before, for sure, it's logic that once you're doing the retreat, you're not prepared enough, and you go in crisis in the center. And then they say this, that they don't want to have the responsibility to on people, by the fact that if you have mental issues, you're not supposed to do it. They don't want to be responsible of if something happened, right? But with all the mental issues that I had when I started my first retreat, and I did it by myself alone, I had no teacher with me. It means all was me, with myself, with my mind, but with all these commentaries that I have been reading on the internet. So I knew everything that I was passing through. I read the people experiences, so I knew what was normal, like the pain you get in the legs, and you think that you can't keep on meditating because you're gonna end by losing a leg, or whatever these thoughts that the mind is putting in activation to make you stop, actually. So as I read all the commentaries, different commentaries from many different people, I could mix all these different experiences. And when I was passing through the experiences similar to the other people, I was like, yeah, it's normal. The others too. So just keep on. Don't stop. Keep on closing your eyes. Just do it, and that's it. And actually, I did not develop at all in these 10 days, my first retreat, as I did exactly the same 10 days, 10 hours per day. I was just stressed to always be in time, because it was very hard to do the 10 hours. I was even not really cooking. I could not. I mean, it's impossible to do 10 hours. So I was waking up at 7, I think, and I was ending at 9 or 10. I mean, I was just doing 10 hours the same, but I was maybe following my own rhythm to eat, not exactly like, because they start at 4 o'clock, and this is definitely what I have not done. I was doing 10 hours, but starting at the time that I felt it's a good time for me to start. So, yeah, and I did not at all feel crazy. I mean, actually, when you think about it, it's, I mean, if you've already took drugs in your life like me, I really experienced a lot of kind of drugs, from cocaine to ecstasy, but LSD, MDMA crystal, and mushrooms, and all this. I was used to get easy parano with my mind, or in bad trips, or but I was keeping on consuming drugs, or taking drugs, right? Even if I had many times bad experiences. So I was used to observe my mind as crazy it can be, right? So I was thinking, if I'm still here with all the drugs that I've been taking, I will be able during this retreat to stop it if I feel that I'm getting crazy by being sitting 10 hours per day. And if I would have thinned, that I would have developed my mental issues, if I would have made them activated, I would have stopped it. I would have been able to stop it, actually. I was thinking, when you take a drug, you're not able to stop the effect of the drug, right? But if you're meditating, I was thinking that, right? Let's imagine that if it would have had a certain effect, as it was not a drug, I would have been able to stop the effect and just stop the retreat, right? And get back to a normal life. I was thinking, I made the risk, I took the risk, I just thought like this, and actually nothing happened, and I kept on doing this way every year, and really it has saved my life. I will do others audios to talk about these changes in particular situation, how it avoid me also to not commit suicide by practicing so much this mindfulness. When the suicidal mind is activated by any situation, the mindfulness has such a power that the suicidal mind can't be, can't be in control of our actions, of my actions. I can't commit suicide if I'm aware. It's impossible. But to be aware, you need to practice it, because the mind, once it's activated in his craziness and in his suicidal tendencies, like mine, I'm really suicidal, mine, because of my path. And it's just too much crazy past, traumatic past. My mind is very damaged, very destroyed. So I gotta be aware of it to not let him possess me and make me have irreversible actions, right? And I can really see the results. Now it's 7 vipassana, and really it has saved me from committing suicide, and it has so what is it has this? It is the fact that I have been practicing vipassana during all these years and following the recommendations that Goenka is saying. I just followed what he said about doing 1 retreat per year and practicing 1 hour morning and 1 hour evening. I have been doing this, so every year 1 retreat, but the morning and evening meditation, I stopped to do it after my 5th vipassana. When I arrived to the vipassana number 5, I was starting to be satisfied in my, let's say, in my elimination of the things that were really bothering me, like this violence crisis and things that I had, these addictions with drugs and alcohol and things. Also the suicidal bipolarity mind, because I was bipolar, I was depressed, I was with anorexia, with bulimia. So when I was satisfied with my way to treat food, because of awareness again, so then I felt like I don't need to sit an hour morning and evening, because I also made a decision to be alone in silence. So I was practicing, and I am still practicing daily. always I spend my time to practice mindfulness, observe my mind, and putting substitution thoughts to fight the mind which is trying to review the negative, crazy, traumatic past. So without this mindfulness tools like vipassana, the 4 Toltec agreements, the positive affirmations, and also intermittent fasting, all these practice that make us practice self-discipline, restrictions and control. Without these tools, I won't be here able to make these audios to share the power that it has on our lives to live a better life, because I know I would have committed suicide from years since 2016 when my brother did it. And what has also saved me from committing suicide when my brother did it, it's this disidentification from the mind, reading the book from Eckhart Tolle, again, a book of consciousness, a book of practicing awareness and mindfulness, using the tool of disidentification of the thoughts, being spectator of what we think and being the consciousness of the consciousness. So doing this and finding this book and reading it at that time of this tragedy has saved me from following my brother and also committing suicide. I was very getting crazy at that time, and I was going to do it also. So yeah, definitely mindfulness has such a big power. It requires that we practice it, but it's valuable, and the fruit that we get from it, it's inconsistent. We can't touch it because it's a mindly story, right? It's in the mind, so it's invisible, but it has so much energy as creation, because we control the mind, for it does not control us and destroy our way of living happy and free, liberated from the useless suffering.